Welcome back, friends. It's Cyrus the Crafty Bastard Gamer doing something a little bit different. I'm using my Twitch stream setup to do a video about Free RPG Day, which was last weekend, exactly 1 week ago. And as I reported on the FoundryCast podcast, I got to go, and I also got to do my first ever Pathfinder Society run, which was so fun. Interesting. I learned a lot, what I liked, what I didn't like. But I'm definitely going to pursue it again in the future, so woo, cool there. It was a huge blowout for Wyvern's Tail. Let me just do a little flippy floppy here, and you can see down onto the screen here, Wyvern's Tail is a fantastic gamers store in Asheville, North Carolina. It's on Merriman Avenue. I kind of think of them as the preeminent gaming store. They've got great board games, they've got good tabletop games, a lot of classics, a lot of new stuff, a lot of miniatures, and they also host events. So the first 25 people in the door got a free swag grab bag full of some goodies, one being this tote, which I normally don't like these kinds of totes, but I like that it's small, and what I'm going to do is roll it up and put it in my main gamer bag, so I have something extra. Because if I go to a convention and I start buying some extra stuff, I might need another bag to carry it in, and so that way I can also pimp their design. Also, if I just flippy back, you can see I'm wearing a shirt as well for the Wyvern's Tail that they gave out. It was very cool of them to do so. And flippy floppy one more time. A little more swag that came in. They gave out dice that have their logo on them, which I already have a set of these that I've given out in giveaways. So it's cool that I have more to give away for the FoundryCast.com. They had pins. Who doesn't need more pins to their game bag? This one's specifically for Free RPG Day. And what was cool is that it's their 5-year pin. That's why they made such a big deal out of it. They're pretty much the only game in town doing something special for Free RPG Day, and it was their 5th anniversary. So they got to celebrate with cake and all kinds of exciting games going on upstairs, and also big sticker. Who doesn't love a big sticker decal like that? I'm going to go into the small stuff first. Got a lot of cards. The first one, I wish I knew what game system this was for. I'm not familiar with it. It says Arcane Taemin 2010, and that's the back on it. So I've got to investigate what set this is from to learn more about it, because the art's pretty cool, sort of your standard. I don't know if Magic the Gathering created this card type, but I always think of all successful cards after that sort of being, you know, Magic the Gathering in style. A card from Flux, which I both love and am flummoxed by, because it's just a very difficult game for new people to play who haven't played these kinds of games, to think on your feet, roll with the punches. The Creeper card. A Fuse card. I don't know what this is, but already just the art is so interesting. I want to check it out. I want to see what this is all about. I don't know if those are dice. I have no idea what that means, but it looks cool. And then a Pathfinder adventure card game set for Ripazo. What is he called? He's the Bug Zapper Goblin. And so all the cards that go along with him. So that's a neat little takeaway. Getting a little bigger, I got a sticker. It says, "I made it up Mount Everest in James Ernest's Stuff and Nonsense, Imaginary Adventures from Cheap-Ass Games." It's just a sticker, but it's a cool sticker. I like the art. Sort of that Indiana Jones fantasy epic. And then a postcard for Asheville Anime Regional Convention, which is going to be July 29th here in Asheville, the U.S. Cellular Center. I don't know if I'm going to go to this yet or not. I'd like to. I like anime. I always feel like there's so many different titles. I have no idea what they all are, but this might be another cool convention to go to. I've already got one coming up July 14th, 15th, 16th. It's Raleigh SuperCon in Raleigh, North Carolina. So this might be a fun event as well. Now we're going to move into, the real things. These are the smaller booklets. Some of these I've heard of before, some I had to gloss through. This is the Faith, the SciFi RPG. What I like about this one is if you just go through it, you'll see they explain how the game is played through comic book format. So if you've never played a role-playing game before, don't know how to get into character and sort of visualize where you are, and maybe some ways to talk through sequences of abilities or professional skills, this is a way to do it. It looks to be a sort of a card-based game. I don't have any of these cards. I was wondering if the come back here, if this card had anything to do with it, but the art style doesn't really seem to match, and the way the setup of the card looks compared to what they're demonstrating here doesn't seem to be the case. And then, so basically you fight against your game master's deck of cards, which sounds like a lot of fun. So kind of your humans and aliens in space sort of a game. I think I'd like to check that out. That might be a whole lot of fun. Then Penny Dreadful is the name of this standalone adventure for Through the Breach. I glanced at this one, and a lot of these are wonderful, purposefully released things for free RPG day. There are ways to get into the game. It's not just free swag, it's sort of your introductory breakdown of how the games are played, what to expect. This game, as well as the next one, are based on playing cards. So all you need is your adventure. I think you need a character sheet, and then you play with a 52 card deck, and that's all you need. And the way you flip them over gives you your skills and modifiers and that sort of thing. This is based in sort of a science fiction, gothic, steampunk, western theme. So a lot of really interesting derivatives of science fiction and that steampunk kind of feel, that steampunk western. And I like, there's occasionally little bits of art in there sprinkled through, but some good tables and all your characters. You can play as constructs or fight against wretcheds. That looks to be a lot of fun. At first I thought it was Penny Dreadful, and I'd seen that it was a Showtime series, and I thought this looks nothing like Penny Dreadful, but that is the name of the one-shot for Through the Breach. Familiars of Terra. I normally don't go for anything this sort of anime-inspired, and I hate to use the word cutesy, but that's kind of what I'm going to go with for now. In this game, everybody has an animal familiar companion, and they can level up with you, they can give you spells, and it's also another game that's played with just regular playing cards. From what I see in the back, the combat is pretty simple, and I'm not 100% sure how you resolve combat, but I love the if you love animals and you have pets, this might be a game for you. It's not going to be your hardcore kind of game, but could be a ton of fun. Familiars of Terra. The Valiant Universe, I've heard of before. This is basically your comic book universe. So if you want to play anything from the X-Men of today to the X-Men of when they first released, this is going to be it. The universe, it has something to do with how the world developed with science and technology and the hard choices that you have to make that create either fantastic or gritty stories. And it's part of the Valiant superhero universe, so a lot of comics that I've heard of before or read before. And so what's cool in the back is it does also have like Exo Man of War, Faith, Fallen Spirit, Matron as your playable characters, and then it has just little breakdowns. I like these kinds of things because you could cut them out, have them stuck behind your Dungeon Master screen, if you will. Just cut it out and you've got all your stats that you need without having to have notebook after notebook after notebook. The art is great. I don't know if it's pulled directly from the comics or if it was made just for this handout, I'm assuming it's something that's pulled like Splash from the comics, but that could be a lot of fun. And now, my friends, I'm telling you, I got a lot of swag. I got a lot of stuff. So let's see. Let's see. This is in no particular order, but the last two are my favorites. We've got a Conan book. It's the Hyborian Age. Okay, if you don't know Conan, this is my buddy Zach uses the word grimdark. Grimdark. This is your grimdark fantasy. This is your magic is a little on the limited side. It's more about your fighters, your barbarians, your martial prowess, trying to build kingdoms, feats of strength, that sort of thing. Like it's got a little bit of art in here that shows you. I like when you can kind of see what the standard character would look like, unless it's a named character pre-generated. But you never know when that picture is going to give you inspiration for what your character is, what they do, and it's all pretty cool thing in here. Where was it? I love that piece of art right there. The archer riding through, felling people with well-fired arrows. I'll move on, but yeah. So Conan. This is a two-parter. This is Timewatch and Swords Against Owlbears. Timewatch, I don't want to give this one away, but it has to do with time cops. And I think it is just the font of knowledge is this particular adventure, but time cops want to stop the rise of Nazism, and they have a very interesting way of going about it. So I don't want to give it away, so if you are interested in checking this out, I won't spoil the fun. I love that piece of art. Very simple, but very static, sort of a riff on Michael. And yeah, I love when good art is thrown into these kinds of things. And then, sorry, jumping ahead, the writers came up with the name Swords Against Owlbears and then built the adventure around that. It's for 13th Age. What was this one about? I don't even remember. This one I didn't get to read through very much. But if you've played 13th Age and you know that combat system, it's more of the same, but it sounds like a very fun adventure that they've planned out here. Good stats in the back. And I like that this is a two-parter. So that's pretty clever. Rune Quest. I've read about this, never played it. I love the idea that a lot of the world is based off of runes and the way you roll for results and your resistances, but where is it? Rune summary. So instead of, it seems like instead of having lawful, good, neutral, evil, anything like that, you're based more on these runic connections. So if you're connected to the rune of air, the element of it, you're more elemental as opposed to power or opposed to form. Air, storm, manipulation skills, smell, violence, pride, unpredictability, swords, mammals, and they have a god that's named. So that's how you would build your character based off of concepts, not necessarily good or evil. They also have ways to resolve scenarios where you don't know what you would do, so you'd roll a D100, I think, and wherever it ranks based on your rune, if you succeed, then you would do what your runic sorry, words are hard today. Where do they say that? Basically, you'd follow the will of your runic connection, I guess is what it is. If you fail, you do something else. But it also has runic spells. And I think that this would lend towards using a set of rune stones in really fun ways, drawing them. Maybe face down off of a table as well would be sort of interpretation as Game Master that I would use from time to time. So that looks cool. And it's also a ton of information. These bigger booklets that the companies was this Chaosium Incorporated. They spent a lot of money putting this out there. This is what you would normally find on a shelf. Yeah, $9.95, a $10 booklet for free. That is super classy. And a lot of these, do they all have prices? Didn't even think to look. A couple of them may. That just tells you how much love and effort goes into Free RPG Day. And I will say that the companies who support Free RPG Day, I think, do a lot more than the comic book companies for Free Comic Book Day. But that's a topic for another time. Border Hounds. I had never heard of this one before, I don't think. But basically, think of all those hard action Asian cop dramas. That's what this is. It's supposed to be very cinematic. Things happen in scenes. Things happen in turns. Combat is a little more fantastic, and it's supposed to be get in, get out, and do damage, right? Is that Borderhound? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of another one. I'm thinking of... Let me jump ahead. That's Hong Kong Task Force 88. And this is also something very classy. The front is the explanation of the quick start. So you look at the cover, and it tells you what you need to play. 2 to 4 players, including the game moderator, game master, dungeon master. 2 6-sided dice of different colors for each player. Paper and pencils. The shot counter. Tokens. And then printed character archetypes. And they even explain key elements of this game you should know. It's based on Hong Kong action movies. High melodrama rules the day. There's no such thing as cliched plotline. You exist in a world that rewards off-the-hook heroism. Qi is a life force that animates both humanity and nature. History belongs to those who have attuned themselves to the Feng Shui sites. To travel through time, you move through a mysterious realm known as the Netherworld. Good information in here. Going to the very end, your characters are the Karate Cop, the Magic Cop, or the Maverick Cop. And they even break down sequences, and they already have initiatives prepared. So I think this might be... I don't want to read through it too much in case a buddy of mine wants to run it, because this is one I really want to play. Hong Kong Task Force 88. Okay, back to Border Hounds, that I was being mistaken. Also produced by Troll Lord Games, who I oddly have heard of. Thank you for sending out something for free. I do really appreciate that. The interior is kind of plain. I don't get any any feeling of what the game is about. The beginning page is all written from a character to you in character, I guess, and it has to do with the multiverse. That the Earth is in the most important planet in the cosmos, and human soul is commodity, so there's warfare over souls in a multiverse, is kind of what I got out of it. That anything that can happen did happen, and there are different layers of the universe. It's kind of what I got. So just some good pulpy stuff there. I'm excited to read through this a bit more and figure out what it's all about. Newman Era is on the rise right now. I've heard a lot of people say they would rather play this than one of the other top 2 games. It looks really cool. It sort of has that dark fantasy sweeping world. In this game, I guess it's for first-time players. Your characters are all kidnapped by bizarre mechanical raiders, swept away to another world to survive in this desolate landscape. You know, it's sort of a different type of fantasy. They're not relying on Tolkien's tropes. They're going a little more in the ethereal, a little more in the magical and wild and sweeping and alien, which I think is a very fresh take. It's something we kind of need right now when everything is dungeon-based and everything is elves and dwarves and dragons. Looks incredibly cool. I was listening to some of the guys play this in the other room at Free RPG Day, and it's something I really want to check out. in the future. So I can see why people would really want to play this. I don't know the combat and the resolution of the game statistics wise, but it doesn't seem to be any more complicated than anything else I've played before. So Newman Era, the Spire of the Hunting Sound. Touareg Eternity. Well, this is a weird one too. What was it? There are infinite versions of worlds, and there were these cosmic beings who came in, and they started taking over worlds, and they all had their different strengths, and they made different layers of each world, but they were all defeated. But in this reality, they weren't. They're winning. So it's still kind of a dark, brooding kind of energy, and where I guess the players are trying to defect the Earth, the core Earth as it is. So it seems to have a combination of sci-fi, reality hopping, multiverse, and a lot, in this particular one, a lot of prehistoric lizard dinosaur monsters. Pre-generated characters: the egghead professor, the wannabe athlete, the jaded paramedic, the frustrated executive, the quasi-celebrity, the petty crook. I think there's what I love about these is there's so much just stuff to work off of for your own games. Touareg Eternity. Not when I saw this, I wish I could have grabbed 5 of them. Isometric gaming paper. Demonstration how-to guide. I've seen tutorials of people teaching their viewers how to draw isometric dungeons to get the feeling of the rooms. I don't know if that's the most necessary option anymore, but maybe an isometric dungeon design would be a little more inspiring than just the top-down. But it's got sort of a description on how to do it, step by step, and then it gives you one page. One small page to do one room on your own. So I love the idea of this, and they do, of course, sell. They're a gaming paper company too, so they're gonna sell booklets and reams and stuff. What I think this would be kind of neat is to do a larger scale dungeon, much bigger scale, to have things that kind of wind into each other, like you might find built underground, depending on shapes of caverns and thickness of stone. Small size, probably not very worth your time, but on the big size is kind of a fun way to learn how to do that. So this is kind of a cute find. The last 2, Dungeon Crawl Classics. Just the art of this alone is worth the price of admission, if you will. Look at all this. There are already on the cover, if you want to copy or just cut out, little character sheets. It has the starter rules set, explains the dice chain, why this is different than you've played it before, character creation, and then look at all these occupations. I'm incredibly jealous that I didn't come up with this before. I was already working on something for a pet project that has occupations, and so now I'm going to have to look at this, make sure I'm not, you know, ripping directly from what they've written, but also that might inspire me a little bit to augment what I was already coming up with, because I have a huge list of different professions. But Elven Artisan, Elven Barrister, Elven Chandler, these are pretty cool, and the weapons that they're trained in, I love this. This is incredibly cool. Luck scores, and just every other page has art with such character, such nostalgic love. Crit tables, magic and healing. This is great stuff. If I could have taken more of anything, I would have gotten 4 or 5 of these just to give out to friends who couldn't make it to free RPG day. And then on the back, because it says flip over, more adventure. Women games. The Knoll House. So it's got, look at that. There is your multi-leveled map. First floor, second floor, cellar. and a full adventure. Appendix. Eyes of the Elder Knoll. That is awesome. One last thing, one more shout out. Q Workshop, for Free RPG Day, sent out classic dice in various colors. I don't know how many they got sent in, but they weren't being given out for free. These were being passed around to people as they were playing games for Free RPG Day upstairs at Wyvern's Tail. So they sent sort of their elven styled die in this one. I don't know if other people got different colors. I only really saw mine, but that's cool. That's a nice little bonus to my collection. I forgot to mention that a second ago. Then Starfinder. This is Pathfinder in space. I've been waiting to get my hands on this. I love Pathfinder. I love its balance. I love its I wouldn't say it is the most elegant design, but it's the most flexible. You can do anything you want. You just have to find a way. This is Pathfinder in space. So it's got some, like, basically it's like a small monster manual, and I believe it's got a little bit of a breakdown how feats and things work. Yeah, I'm assuming these are not playable characters. Well, heck, if they are, that'd be cool. Nah, this is being treated more as monsters that you could play. So, yeah, Starfinder monsters in Pathfinder. Okay, and that's where they would be based on the planets in the Starfinder universe. Cool. So, I look forward to reading more about this, getting my hands on a full manual sometime soon. The last things I wanted to show you were my two favorite things that I got throughout the day. The first one was in a plastic wrap. This was it had a card for Mindless Zombie. I don't know what game this is for in particular, but just has some statistics, cost, abilities of what it does, and then you'll see that it was a figure. So I get to break this out, glue it in, paint it up, and have I don't know if you can see, it's just the upper torso and the head and the arm. So that'll be fun. That'll be a fun thing. I have to do that in a game sometime now. You can't give me a mini and have me not use it. Last thing is Sirenscape, who I'm a big fan of as well, added a Cthulhu bonus sound pack for free. Scratch to redeem the code. If you don't already use Sirenscape, I like to use their music in my games and sometimes in my videos, depending on the theme. A lot of times I'll do like the tavern music. Not using it today, but because it was a little too joyous, a little too raucous, sounded like a party was going on in the background. But yeah, you can go to Sirenscape.com, register for an account, and they have a couple sound packs for free. You can buy some sound packs, or you can basically just join a subscription service where you can get so odd many a month for free, or as many as you want, and as long as you have the subscription, you can play anything you like. They've also done a lot of work with with Geek and Sundry's Critical Role. They have some sound I think they have some sound packs that go with those characters or go with some of their adventures and something like that. And they do a lot of work directly with Pathfinder Society games. So if you're playing whatever the scenario is, they may have some sound to go with that. So if there's anything that you saw me present today that you'd like to see more about, please feel free to check them out. Of course, you can always double back to where I had the web address at the bottom of the screen, or you can just stay through the next couple moments. When I do the outro, I'll list all those web addresses again for you, because I love you. You know, I want to do things for you. If you want to learn more about me, go to thefoundrycast.com, and you can see where me and my buddy Zach, who's the 9 to 5 gamer, we've got blogs and videos and podcasts and all kind of good stuff. And that is, can you see it? thefoundrycast.com. And also you can subscribe to us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Until next time, keep crafting, and I'll see you later. Bye. I don't know why I shot you. It's gonna love.